Yes, thank
Hey,
you
there you
so much.
are.
Thank you so much for having me. I hail from Antigua and Barbuda, and I received my education at Jennings Secondary School, so that's where I got my start in agriculture. And also, I grew up in a farming family. So I like to tell people as soon as I was able to hold a hoe, I had my own little plot and farming. I went to the Eastern Caribbean Institute of Agriculture and Forestry, ECIAF, in Trinidad. And then I worked with the Ministry of Agriculture there in Antigua and Barbuda in several positions after I came back. So I worked at the Dunbar's Research Station. I had the opportunity to work at CMC. And finally, I was interim plant protection officer at the Plant Protection and Quarantine Unit before I went off to pursue my studies in plant protection and pest management at the University of Georgia. So I gained my bachelor's and master's degrees there. And I started my extension career with Clemson University. And I am at University of Florida Institute of Food and Agriculture Sciences now. And I am an extension agent. So I work on the front lines with residents of Florida. And I also serve as Associate District Extension Director for my extension district. And I am engaged in international extension activities, predominantly in the Caribbean. So I am the immediate past chair of the Caribbean Agricultural Extension Providers Network, and I'm one of the founding members of that group. And I also serve as the current board president of the Global Forum for Rural Advisory Services, GFRAS, which is a nonprofit based in Switzerland. And KayakNet, which is the Caribbean network I just mentioned, falls under that umbrella.
Amazing. Just, I was reading about it and I was like, what? There's so much. And I'm so happy. So obviously you're Antiguan, so you're one of our cousins. So fantastic. So,
Possibly, yes.
yeah, right? I'm like, there's only how many last names? Totally cousins. All right. So please, please, please tell us about the recent project and collaboration with the University of the Virgin Islands and also as it relates to growing sorrel on a commercial basis.
Sure. So, sorrel is popular throughout the Caribbean. And one of the things I realized is that, since I've been in the US, is that we do not explore sorrel to its full potential. Usually we just use the calyces of the flower to make drinks, but when I came and other things, and when I came to the US, I realized as I'm intermingling with people from different cultures, they use the leaves, some of them use the seeds. So there's lots of opportunities for sorrel. So once I got my hands on some seed, I started to grow sorrel in my backyard and saw that there was really good potential. And myself and some of my colleagues, I convinced them to apply for a grant from the Sustainable Agricultural Research Education Program. And we got some funding to conduct some research. And Dr. Thomas Zimmerman from the University of the Virgin Islands, he's an expert sorrel breeder. And I've had the opportunity to attend several of his presentations done at the Caribbean Food Crop Society meeting several years. And I contacted him and asked him if he would be willing to collaborate with us on the project. And he provided us with three different varieties of sorrel, one of them being day neutral. And sorrel is a plant that flowers in the short days of the year. So that's why we usually use it around Christmas time. And the day neutral sorrel is one that's supposed to be producing year round. And we also got black and festival. The initial research that we've done so far, the local variety, which is the one that the farmers where we're doing the research on there, they were growing that variety. We call it local. And so the local variety and the day neutral are the ones that are the best producers here in Central Florida, where I'm at. The black and festival varieties, they come in a bit later and they do not get to their full potential just because the first frost comes in before we can get a second or additional harvest from them. So those would be better for the Caribbean because you don't have the frost to contend with. And if you grow the day neutral in the Caribbean, the idea is that you can grow sorrel year round. So that's an opportunity for us.
Ooh, very exciting. So this makes me very happy. Other than when you freeze it, then we could be drinking it all year round. I like the way you think, doctor. Thank you. So you have that variety that does better all year round. Now, what about if it's actual like winter conditions, like cold conditions? Are there ones that can like suffice and like, survive that as well?
No, so we have to replant sorrel every year here in Florida. So we grow it as an annual. But places such as South Carolina and Louisiana has grown sorrel successfully. And Rut- Rutgers University in New Jersey, they've done some research on sorrel, but based on their findings, there it doesn't do well when you're looking to harvest the caly seed. So they use it there mostly for the Indian and African populations. They use it as grain. If you live further north, you would have to grow it in a greenhouse in order to get good production towards the end of the season before the cold weather comes. And I must say, if you haven't tried the greens of sorrel, they're very tasty. When I was in Ghana, I had the opportunity to have them there as greens for the first time, and they're very tasty. And you can also use the young tender leaves in sorrel, in salad, sorry. And it has a little tart taste to it, but it's really good.
Amazing. See, and I love that you mentioned Ghana because my friend from Senegal, she made sorrel, and I was like, ah! But I forget the name that she had for it. And then, of course, if you go to like Spanish-speaking countries, I think they call it jamaica. And I asked them, is that like a hibiscus? Is it sorrel? What is it? So that is one of the questions because my mother always told me it's not jamaica, it's not hibiscus, it's sorrel. So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
what so
I
are those
think,
different versions that
I
you were
think
mentioning?
that I think the Hemica is a different crop altogether, but sorrel has lots of different names depending on where you are in the world. So they call it Jamaican sorrel, roselle, Florida cranberry. I think some people call it gongora or something like that. Sour, sour because of the tart taste. I like to tell people, it's important for you to know the scientific names of plants. So no matter where in the world you go, you're talking the same language if you're using the scientific name. So if you say hibiscus sabdarifa, you're likely talking about the same thing because you're using the scientific name.
Are you saying my mom is not correct? I won't tell her. Don't worry. It's just between us. It's just between us. Okay, so basically, we already knew how amazing sorrel was and all of the incredible health benefits. So for you going forward, what would be your big goal? Like, what is the overarching hope for sorrel in being produced widely throughout the world and in more regions?
Right. So what we've noticed from our research so far is that sorrel doesn't like wet conditions. So on one of the farms that we had our research going, it came down with several different diseases. So we're going to be writing some publications on that. And from our research, we're not hoping, we are going to write publications on production of sorrel so that farmers here will know how to produce it on a commercial basis. Going forward, we hope to apply for additional grants where we can do additional research on value added products and things like that. So one of the things the University of the Virgin Islands has done with sorrel is that after they've dried it, they grind it into a powder that you can use in smoothies. So there's lots of different things that you could do with sorrel.
Smoothies. I'm into it. Okay. So, doctor, how do we find out more? Do we Google you? I feel like we should Google you.
Yeah, if you Google me, you'll find me. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, there's lots of different information about me online. Um, I you can email me if you need additional information. My email is nsamuel@ufl.edu, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
And Samuel at
UFL,
UFL.
UFL for University of Florida .edu.
EDU. Okay, excellent. Thank you so, so much. This is very exciting. I feel as if definitely we already knew that the Caribbean is an incredible gem and, not at, and very underrated. People need to know about us. So thank you
Well,
for doing what you do.
yes, whenever anyone asks me where I'm from, I'm usually like, I'm from the beautiful Caribbean nation of Antigua and Barbuda. We have
65
365
beaches.
for every day of the year. My kids would be like, Mommy, you have to say that every time. I'm
Yes,
like,
yes, we
yes.
do. Excuse you. Of course we do.
But thank you so much for having me.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much. Excellent work. Thank you.